the Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives and release from darkness for the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn and provide for those who grieve in Zion, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. They will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for display of his splendor. I'm called Liz Ingabile, and I'm the Director of Schools at Hope Haven. With the school, I kind of manage the entire school. We have a preschool, we have a primary, and we are yet to start a vocational training because of the community we are based in. So I do a lot of counseling and mentoring, not only to the teachers, to the parents as well. Because we are with parents who didn't go to school, who think like what they are is what their kids will be. If they are being farmers or casual laborers, that's what even their kids will do. So you make them tell them, if you help this child to go to school, tomorrow this child will help you in your old age. We'll be the one to take care of you. We'll be the one to pay your medical bills. You can't sit now. You need to help them to go and work and then bring back something. We want them to be able to go out there in other countries and express themselves and work and communicate and sell whatever skill they have. And as you see, Rwanda is a small country. We can't all live on farming. We have to be able to do other things. So people think they will survive on farming. That's what they have been doing their entire life. And even when you ask the parents, say, oh, even my mom and my grandmother or father was doing that. I'm doing that too, even my child will do that. No. If the population is increasing, they will not do that. There will be no land for that. So you have to come up with something else to do at least to survive. And that's education. I give my example. I say, my parents are so happy to see me because I can support them, because they helped me to go to school. But if they had known, they would not help me now. I would be a burden to the family. So you help them to understand, if I don't create a difference, nobody's going to do it for me. They kind of come around, but you don't dictate. You make them understand. And it's not something you do in one day. Good. But would you say as I was a child, I grew up in the same situation these people are in, but I didn't like it. If you don't want something, you work so hard not to have it, and you could create a positive change. That positive change has made me who I am today. And I respect everyone, no matter what level you are, because I've been there. But don't tell me you can't get out of there. Personally, I'm a Rwandan with a Ugandan background. My parents left this country in 1959. And they went and settled in Uganda. So I was born in Uganda, but in 1986, back in Uganda, there was a guerrilla war, and it affected the area where my parents were staying. So I wasn't with my mom and my dad. I was living with my uncle. And during the war, he was killed, and his wife, he had 4 kids, and I was the 5th in the family. So I ended up in an orphanage home. I think I was like 4 or 5 years old. And I didn't know much about the family or my parents, but I had the older son to my uncle. So that older brother, so he was the oldest. I think for him by that time he was like 10 years. He knew the family, he knew like we had uncles and so on. So we ended up in an orphanage home, 4 of us, who were left as kids, and the war was going on. And we stayed there up to when I was in my senior 2. Then my older brother, my cousin from my uncle, so he went back tracing the family. Like, we need to know if there's anybody who survived in our family. So he went looking for the family and found like my dad was still alive and my mom. I didn't know like they existed. Because if you read about the Uganda guerrilla war, so many people died. And where in that district is called Ruwero district, that's the district where the guerrilla war was based. So they slaughtered people. The way you see people were slaughtered here, that district, people were slaughtered. You could only see skeletons and skulls of people. Up to there, those skulls were there like lined on the side of the road. So you would barely think someone survived. So it's only kids who mostly survived. Mature people were being slaughtered because they thought they would join the rebels, because this was a rebel group fighting the government, which went and set the camps among the people. So every time the government would come to bomb or to fight the rebels, would kill civilians. So it was not easy to know like someone really survived. Thank God of that older brother of mine. Otherwise, I would think I was alone. I would not have siblings. But because like he was mature enough, he could go and like ask and trace the village, which I couldn't. So that's how I got united with my family. But then they were in that kind of poverty, like they would not support us. So, and even the caregiver of the orphanage home went there and said, okay, we are not sending you there. You stay in school up to when you finish your senior 4. I stayed in the orphanage and I continued with school. So literally, I didn't spend much with my family. I knew they were there, but I didn't spend much. And even up to today, I'm totally different from my siblings. At times my mom looks at me and says, okay, maybe God wanted to bless you that way. You are totally different from anyone. Even the way you perceive things, I'm totally different. So it's because of the kind of life I grew up in. I wanted to go back to high school, but it wasn't easy. I wrote to one of the sponsors of the orphanage home, and these were from Denmark. And the couple really loved me much. They didn't have a kid, so they accepted to sponsor me in my high school. So they sponsored my high school. I went back to school. Other kids didn't go to school. But I went to school because they said, okay, Liz, we love you. They used to call me Elizabeth. They said, Elizabeth, we love you, and we want you to finish your high school, and then you find a way of surviving. So I said, okay. So I finished high school. I started working, and I worked like 2 to 3 years. I was doing different jobs. I used to train in computer. I used to do data entry. Anything which would come on my way, I would work. So I could work all 7 days a week just to make money, because I had kind of come out like I was the one supporting my entire family. Back home, like my sisters, my siblings, I was the one supporting them. After like 3 years in a working field, I decided to go back to the university and study. I applied at the university, I enrolled and started mass communication. I liked it because I realized it was going to give me more power to be able to do my passion, because I loved helping other people, because I was helped too. So in me, there was that thing that I have to help other people. I have to create a difference in other people's lives. And this was a course which really built me and gave me the capacity, because I knew what to say, when to say it, and where to. I started taking care of myself at the age of 18. Staying alone, taking care of myself, finding what to eat, paying my rent. It's not easy as a girl. So when you see all those things, managing your life at that age, it's not easy. Like there's nobody you say, oh, I'm sick, or like I need food, or like I have to. So you have to decide what is right for you. So I made so many decisions as a child, and I'm proud of them today, because that's what have made me who I am today. Welcome to Hope Haven Rwanda. Hope Haven Rwanda is located 20 kilometers from the capital of Kigali, Murindi.
My name is Nathan Kempton, and I am the operating manager of Hope Haven Rwanda. I started on this project 4 years ago, 2011.
So it's not all about Hope Haven and the kids and the school, it's the entire community. That's when we say touching one family at a time. So we are linking families with the school. When we had just started, we could not see where we are going very well because like everything was kind of a mess.
We've situated ourselves in Murindi, and it's a very poor environment, very poor neighborhood.
People had lost hope of going to school, of surviving, of living a better life.
When we first got here and we looked at the site, it was 10 acres. We didn't want to build something and then have the community say, you know, we didn't need a school, there's one right here. We didn't need a whatever we were thinking of, so we wanted to fill their need. It's 5 miles away to the local school over in Kabuga or up to the north in Gasoji.
We didn't have the structures, we didn't have like teachers. We started under a tree and eventually a tent. But right now we have the classes. We can do all the settings and all the teachings we need, and we can have all the best teachers.
I am just in awe and so inspired by what God has done, and feel so blessed to be a part of the growth here at Hope Haven. This is the original house that was on site when we arrived. It's an adobe house, adobe brick house. It was the original farmhouse, and this acacia tree is probably 50, 60 years old. You look at it, it's covered with lichen. You can look at these trails of the ants that live here. There's so many, this is host to so many different animals and insects and birds. We've got weavers. The school, when we started, we did not have enough room for the school. So you see this bare spot of ground. This is where we actually placed a tent, and we were able to have one class here and another class inside. This house now has gone from being a classroom that was housing 40 children on the floor and on benches that we purchased to now holding curriculum. This is a transformational icon for us as a school. This lady, her name is Pacifique, and she has a daughter or son here that's a student. So the parents, they actually come for their children. Some of the children still, even though we chose an area with no schools local, some of the children still walk 3 to 4 miles just one way to get here. So their mothers, when the children are very young, worry, and they will come and take their children and walk them home, escort them home until they're 5 or 6.
We have professional teachers, but we are kind of changing the way of teaching, whereby a teacher stands in front of the class. The kids feel free to ask the teachers to express themselves, because we grew up not free expressing ourselves. You could not talk about anything with the teacher. You listen and do what the teacher wants you to do. You don't bring your own ideas. So we want to take the fear away, because we are grooming a new generation. And that's what we are doing at Hope Haven.
Emphasizing to the teachers that you don't need to be sitting in a classroom to teach science. You don't need to sit in a classroom to teach mathematics.
Green.
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 Yeah. Everyone touch something green. Green.
Green.
school is growing and growing in leaps and bounds. And it's a great, great thing to be blessed with all these students, because the students have eager minds. They're voracious in their studies. These students realize that if they don't study and study hard, they will be back in the fields and working in the fields. There's no future for them here in this country. The future lies in education, and they know it and their parents know it.
So normally what I do, I go noting down things I think they are not right and where people are not helping each other, and then we sit in a meeting. So I mention those things and I ask them, do you think whatever I'm talking about is happening? And then they say yes. We say, okay, what is the way forward? How can we solve this? Don't feel offended, because we are all here to learn, and I'm also learning from you. So let's see who is better in this area. So I've kind of encouraged teamwork and encouraged people to learn from each other. In that way, people are willing to listen, to learn, and also to seek advice. And if they feel it's hard, they come to you and tell you. You make it easier for them, like you don't intimidate anyone, but you make it right, like this is what I want. And secondly, you have to demonstrate it yourself, because at times you can't demand something you can't do as a person. If I can do it, you can do it, because we are all human beings and we learn. And I tell them whatever I'm doing, I didn't grow up with it. I learned it from other people, and that's why I am who I am today. As I said at the beginning, I am a Rwandan with a Ugandan background. I used to come to Rwanda on and off, but I could not stay. I would come during holidays and see how the country is moving on, trying to learn the language. I did, because I grew around other languages. Uganda has 56 tribes. I speak like 10 languages there. So those are the kind of languages I was speaking, plus English. So I came here and I didn't know even my mother tongue. So I said, I need to visit the country occasionally to learn the mother tongue, because I have to come home. So when I graduated, I went and told my dad, I want to go to Rwanda. He said, what are you going to do there? There's no life there. We left when we are young. People killed each other. And now you are young, you want to go there as a child. So I realized he didn't want me to come. My dad used to look at me as someone who is kind of liberal, like I do what I want, like I could do things they don't expect me to do. So I said, okay. I just said, okay, fine, I will not go. I went and picked a bus. So, but I had a cousin in Kigali who was working, so I asked him if he could accommodate me until I get a job. He said yes. So I picked a bus and came to Kigali. I started looking for a job. The first week, I could not find one. At the university, I never specialized. I did everything. There's a time you specialize either in journalism or marketing. So I did all the papers, which wasn't easy. But I wanted not to limit myself, because I knew getting a job wasn't easy. So I came here and looked for a job. And eventually, I got one with a bank as a marketing manager. I worked with the bank for 2 years, and then I joined the media. Guess the challenge, I could not speak the language. I was working with people who could not construct a sentence in English, and all the languages I was speaking were from Uganda. So I would go in the field and struggle with my little Kinyarwandan. The clients loved me because of that passion, because I love being around people, talking to people. So I create more time when I'm talking to people, because I want you to understand what I'm talking about. So in the field with my broken Kinyarwandan, the clients loved me. Like every time they would try to send someone else, they would say, we want the other girl with broken Kinyarwandan. We don't want anybody else. I think in a period of like 5-6 months, I was able to speak the language. So through that, I knew like now I have the power to help the people who are helpless, who can't speak out, and especially the women. I would kind of mentor them and say, if you stand there and say what happened to you, I will be behind you. I will stand there with you. So I helped people to speak out. I helped people to change their lives. And myself, it also helped me because I didn't know the abilities I had in me to do something or to create a change or to create a smile on someone's face. I really enjoyed what I was doing there because it was all back to the people. I worked on that for 3 years. I was enjoying it, but I felt like I kind of exhausted myself. Like there was nothing new coming up. So that's when I decided to go to the university. So I applied as a lecturer with my bachelor's degree. So, I convinced them, I just wrote my CV. I told them I have this experience, which is much as someone who have a master's, and I can be one of the best teachers in communication with my experience and my knowledge. So they shortlisted me and I ended up in teaching. And I really enjoyed it. My students really enjoyed just being around me. They would even ask for time to sit with me. And because I know how hard it is to make a choice in life when we are growing up, when we are young, so I did not about teaching alone, and that's me. Even if I'm supposed to teach, I always do mentor people. I do counsel them because I know they need it. I know maybe they don't get it home. I know maybe the other teachers or other people don't do it. So every time I would enter class, I would have 15 minutes, just talk about life. My class or my faculty, I turned out to be one of the best teachers. And then they started assigning me other things to sit on examination board, on counseling board, on management. So like I found at the university, there were people with masters. I didn't have one. But I was doing more jobs which they were not doing. It's all like it's because I showed I was able to do that. The command of leadership I have is because in most institutions I've been working in, I don't wait for a supervisor. I kind of do my work and do extra. I don't care. As long as I'm productive, I don't wait whether my boss is seeing me or not. So I don't care. So I want other people to be that way. And that's why I am who I am today here at Hope Haven. It's through recommendations. That's how I ended up here. So people get to know your capacity, your willingness to help. I have the passion to help people to become better people, like in their lives, to earn better, to live a better life, to have a smile. Some people never smile just because they feel like inside something is not going on. Who is going to bring the smile if you don't make it yourself? So that's how I have managed to do most of the things in my life. And even here at school, I feel so much comfortable. I love what I'm doing. I enjoy it. You edited that. Okay. I love to see this institution growing. I enjoy what I'm seeing from the time we started in the bush, and now we have structures. We are working on pavers. I love it. I feel like, oh my God.
We started construction at Hope Haven in August 2013, and so we constructed the majority of the buildings in 1 year, and we continue the construction today. There's our pavilion. Originally, we had trees that overhung there, and the teachers would go and seat their classes up against the dirt bank and teach. Then we lost that, and so I had them build us a pavilion, and it is used all the time.
I think you know how it's going to go.
One of the things that really blessed us and has blessed our children is a playground. Valor Christian High School sent a volunteer high school missions group here, and they constructed the playground. We have found that the children are introduced to play, and they're introduced to imagination. They can play house, they can play with their friends. When they go home, they have to work, because that's what the family needs them to do, is go out and gather vegetables, gather things out of the gardens, go and get water and bring water. The children, if they do play at home, they play on the street, they play on the road. And that's because that's the only available space for them. The children did not understand how to play. The children did not, nor the teachers. We actually had to sit on the swing and show them how to pump their legs in order to get the swing going. They did not even understand the functionality of a slide or what to do. They would stand at the top of the slide and look down and roll stones down, but they didn't understand you sit down and you go. So the playground has really blessed us, and it's blessed our children because it's benefited them in ways of imagination and creativity that they don't receive at home.
Hope Haven has provided a feeding program, and our feeding program is really helping a lot, and the community is so happy for our program.
This is actually the poorest district surrounding Kigali. It's a unique opportunity to transform the families here. We have so many families that don't have a job, that the children are really hungry when they come to school. We want to start to grow our own food and teach the people how to grow food. The fields are used to supply food for the children. Everything that the children eat in their porridge program or in their lunch program, we grow on site. Some of the children, the only meal that they'll get during the day is what we feed them here.
Our feeding program, these are kids from poor families. Most of them, what we give them here is what takes them to another day.
This building was here when we came, and she's our cook, and we've had her here since day one. Yes. She has two boys here, and they're twins, Kakuro and Gatoya.
My name is Kakuro. My name is Gatoya.
We've grown so much since we arrived. When we arrived, the people of Murindi and the children of Murindi had so many jiggers, and jiggers are grubs that get into you. They infest your hands, your elbows, your knees, and the bottoms of your feet, and they're very painful. They're just under the skin, and what you have to do is literally dig them out. We would have, in a typical week when we started, we'll have a dozen cases of jiggers where we would sit outside and dig them out, clean them, and every day find those children in the classes, bring them out, clean their wounds again. We then sat down with the parents and we described the ways in which they can keep their houses clean and free of jiggers. We now have no cases of jiggers. And we said, look, jiggers are simple to solve. All you have to do is wash your hands, wash your feet, wash your children's feet with soap and water every day.
When I told them why are your kids suffering from jiggers, even the parents, they told me, oh, we are poor. I told them, no, I've been there. They said, no, you have not been there. I told them, yes, I've lived in a mud house, I've walked barefooted, and I never suffered from jiggers. How did I manage to do that? I bathed every day. I asked them, how many times do you wash a day? They said, maybe once, maybe none. I said, okay, after about a week. They said, oh, twice or thrice. I said, okay, where do you pour the water? In the compound. Why not in the house? We have created a positive change. And then they no longer suffer from jiggers. It's all about being dirty. It's all about not knowing. It's ignorance.
So we now teach basic hand washing. We also found that kids had a lot of cavities. Toothpaste and toothbrushes. We hand those things out constantly. We have toothbrushing sessions where we have all the kids line up. It's hilarious. They all line up, they've got their toothbrush. So the kids learn to brush their teeth, and then they spit, and they all laugh at each other because it's dribbling down their chins. It's great.
You need to tell the students after the classes, if you're going out, you push your chair back, you clean your table, you pick all those books, you take them back. So tomorrow they will not just throw them away because they know they are the ones to pick them. So you are helping them to be responsible. The same thing when they go home. Who wants to take a spoiled child? No one. Why should I take in my home like to mess up everything I have instead of putting them together like we live for tomorrow? I lived in so many homes because I wasn't spoiled as a child. Anybody would come and see me and just wish to, can I have leaves for holiday? Just because I wasn't spoiled as a child. And that helped me even in my education. That's how I went through to school and got the support. My parents didn't have all the support to educate me. But because people loved me, they supported me. We have some kids who are like 6 years. And they come with a dirty uniform. You ask them, why is your uniform dirty? Here in Africa, we wash with our hands. I believe a kid of 6 years can wash his or her uniform and get clean with the supervision of the mother. So I told the kids, don't come here telling your mother never washed your uniform. I'll punish you, I'll send you home and go and wash it. You are old enough. We call those who are dirty. We say, you see, these ones are dirty. What should we do? We send them home. And all our kids don't want to be sent home. They start crying from the time you send them home because they love school so much. They enjoy it. So we no longer have that problem of dirty uniform for mature kids who are 5, 6. I grew up in an environment which is harder than they are. whereby you had to walk like 4 or 5 miles to wash. Or you carry your clothes to where there is a pond to wash your clothes, to stay clean. But for them, the water, however much is far, is not as far as we used to. Normally they say if it's a hard life, it can change you negatively or positively. So thank God it changed me positively, to have that passion, to feel like I want to help others. I want to listen to others. I don't want to see someone going through what I went through. It's all about the mentality they have. So they have given up on life. But if you remind them it's not yet time for you to give up, there's hope tomorrow, it changes. I'm not saying like we have kind of won everyone's heart and understanding. We are not like saying, okay, now we have reached where we want to know. We're still on the journey.